Hey guys, how you doing? I'd like to talk to you a little bit about today's session. Um, First of all, we're going to talk a little bit about. I'm George Wolf. Welcome to my studio. It's a home-based studio, and I'm going to be talking to you about real estate. People ask, what kind of real estate do I dabble in? I dabble in tax certificates and tax deeds. I guess you could say it interested me because of the fact that I'd be paying less. Okay. So, before we get started, my name is George Wolf. I approve of this video and my other videos. I am a politician, and I hope that you'll vote in the 2022 election in Arizona if you're an Arizonan. Thank you. Now, first thing we're going to talk about is the differences between the tax deed and tax certificate deeds. The tax certificate deed is one that you would buy the certificates. The tax straight deed, you would be going to an auction and you would bid. Give an example, Arizona sells tax certificates. It takes at least 3 years to indicate that those 3 years you can earn a tax deed. Whereas in California, you would buy the tax deed up front at an auction. Now, what I want you to do is, first of all, get out a pen and paper. And I want you to first think about this. Due diligence is number one. Now, what you want to do up to the point of the due diligence of investigating the property, yes, investigating the property, you're going to have to investigate. So, right now what I want you to do is write down 2 things, or 3 things. And that is, you want to form, you can do this on LegalZoom, by the way, a land trust and an LLC. When you print these out and you sign them, and make sure you print at least 4 copies, I would say. You're going to take the LLC up to the Secretary of State's office in your county, and you're going to file it with the Secretary of State. With the other one, the land trust, you take that up to the, I believe that would, well, think about it this way. If you go to the county recorder's office, say, can I file my trust in the county recorder, or where do I file this? Some people are going to tell you it's at the courthouse. It depends on your state, so always check. It also depends on the county. Now, if your tax certificates, they're going to be per county, no matter what. All county recorders are per county. Okay. Your state is your LLC, and so they'll get you all that information. You'll write a couple. I would take at least 2 blank checks when you're filing your LLC, so that you can fill it in. It's a very little bit amount, and when you do this, make sure that when you do the LLC, you want to get a prepaid card, Visa and MasterCard. Get 2 different cards as prepaid, because everything you pay out to the tax office or anyone else or anything else, do it through the prepaid cards. Okay. Now, if you're asking why, it's just for self-protection. If you can put the prepaid cards under the business name, the LLC, you're going to be better off in the long run. Of course, you're the person who would utilize it and be the only person on there to utilize it. And you would utilize the records that it produces for your tax purposes, as far as doing your taxes at the end of the year. Now, what I want you to do is look at a couple things. Okay, so you got your LLC, you've got your land trust, and your LLC is the trustee of your trust. Okay, so your beneficiary will be you to the trust, even though you own the LLC. Okay, and whatever name you come up with it. Now, you want to have error and omissions, okay, insurance, and you could probably also get it from the same place you'd get what's known as a title surety bond, so that after you get the trust deed, be it from the county or wherever you're purchasing it from, because remember, tax properties could also be state or federal, okay, but majority of the time it's going to be local. So if it's of that county, that's fine. Okay, what I want you to also consider is, now, even though you got tax certificates, okay, when you bid on the first one, you win on that first one, make sure you pay it off on a continuous basis until the year, but rather it's 2 or 3 years, that you can go in and you can claim the tax deed. Because once you get that tax deed, you want to tell them, well, the tax deed needs to be made out to your trust. So that way, when you go down to file it, it's automatically in your trust. Okay. Now, we'll go into more benefits of LLCs and your trust and stuff like that. And remember, when you buy the tax deed itself, it doesn't have to be not necessarily the tax certificates. Okay, that gets you your tax deed. It's your tax deed that you're going to have first position. Now, your debts owed on the property are wiped out because you're in first position, because tax deeds come in first position. The only thing that it doesn't cover, which you can actually use your error and omissions eventually if it does come up, okay, but it's always best to take and do your due diligence. So when you go down to the tax office, you get the tax list, okay, from the Department of Treasury, okay, and you go through the list, and you go to a title company, and you get and if they're willing to work with you, and you say, look, in place of the free title reports for my properties that I may be interested in, I would like you guys to open an account for me so that I would be able to purchase these properties and you guys can do my paperwork for me. Now, don't let me forget something else. Almost forgot. Make sure that you buy, for every property you buy, you want to put your home buyer's warranty on there. Now, there are some that would allow you to put more than one home on there. But in reality, home buyer's warranty is typically one per house. It may cost you $200 up front, which you would use your prepaid card for. And then your your information and everything would be under your LLC. Like I said, it's preferred to have your LLC name on the prepaid cards. Now, once you have the position that you've gone and did that, when you're going to bid, you have all your due diligence down. You went out and you checked the property. Property is really there. It's survivable. Just needs some fixing up. Or if it's, let's say even let's say it's contractor ran out of money, so there's a certain amount of houses that you're going to be buying because it's all on that same property. Well, no matter what it is, it comes down to you're buying the taxes. So if you're in the particular state, let's say California, and you go in, you put your paddle up, and you bid. When your paddle's up, and he says a number, you got to take that paddle down quick. Boom, boom. Why? Well, because he knows that you've already bid. Now, when nobody's bidding on it, don't chase the bids, please. Because chasing a bid, thinking that you're going to get it, typically it's all set up. These people have already looked at it. These people made agreements. I don't bid on your property, you don't bid on my property. But if there's nobody bidding, or nobody's there to bid, and you happen to be the bidder, typically you're going to get it, whatever one. If you want more than one, you can bid on more than one. But again, like I said, use your prepaid cards. Now, what I want you also to think about is, now, although you've got your trust and your company and your LLC company, and you've got your error and omissions, and you've got your title surety bond, okay, or you've got those on the back burner ready to go. You go ahead and bid, you get the tax deeds. If you go to the tax certificate state and you say to the tax certificate state, I've held this, there's 3 years already owed on this. I've paid off my 3 years. I would like to see about getting my tax deed. Now, they'll go and maybe ask you for another additional 1,000, 5,000, something give or take. You go ahead with your prepaid, pay that off. Okay. Now, please remember, you can use OPM, other people's money, if you don't have none of your own, to invest in real estate. But again, remember, you're not out to get a property to flip as you would in a foreclosure. That'll be another time. I'll talk to you about that one differently. We're talking about tax certificates, which typically a beginner would love because it doesn't cost that much money. And if you set the trust in the company and the and your error and omissions and your surety, and you do your due diligence with a list, you go out and inspect, you go to the title company you elected to work with you, or you make an agreement with them, and they provide you the portfolios. You can flip through it and see if there's any other government liens on the property, okay? Or you can call the IRS, see if they have any liens. If they don't, fine. The only time you call the state franchise is if it's a commercial property, okay? Once you've done your due diligence and you know that property's there, and you've been in that property, and you've looked at that property, and you know that property can be fixed up, or you're just interested just in the land. So if you decide to resell it and you resell it just for the land, then you're going to be on the better side because you know what you're looking at, what you're going to do. You're taking your notes on your pad and stuff like that. Now, let's go back a couple of steps. So, you've did your due diligence, okay? You went online for tax certificates and you bid it. And the way you bid is you bid only interest rate. And you want to be the lowest interest rate in order to win your bid. Me, if I was interested in collecting money for loaning the money out, it would probably be at 1%. If I'm just interested in hoping to get that property after the 3 years, each time I would only bid for that interest rate at 0 because I'm interested in that property. I want that property in my portfolio, in my trust. Now, let's go on to the other issue is going in, as I said in the California one, just the deed, straight deed, not tax certificates. Okay, tax certificates you're collecting over the 3 years as you're paying it off along the way, or they pay you off and you start over again. Some people like to do 3 or 4 homes on tax certificates, so somewhere along the line nobody's going to pay it off and you can go in and yeah, you may get your money back over here with an interest rate of 1%, but the fact comes back to is you can then have a property that you're already on top of and you've got it. Now, you already listed it on your portfolio information that here's a property that you're going after. Then in your trust you read that you got it. Once you got it, it's yours. Okay? Now, that's the tax deed in the certificate. In the regular state, like California, you're going to go straight out and you're going to put your deposit down. You can use your prepaid card. And you get your paddle. You go up for the bid. If there's nobody you're bidding, you just bid the one time. But if they start to bid higher, remember, look at your document. No, if he mentions a property, look quickly at your document or at your list and know that that particular property that you're interested in is owed taxes about whatever it is. Okay, then you know what the taxes are owed. Wait until that bid comes down if you're the only one. Once it hits the tax amount, or if he starts off at that tax amount, put your paddle up and he's got you. Now, nobody else bids. Guess what? He'll say, sold to the man wearing a red jacket or whatever the case may be that you choose to wear. And you'll go over to the table, whip out the card again, and you pay the difference, whatever the fees are, whatever it is. They're going to give you the deed. You're going to go and file it. Now remember, make sure that they put the trust company's name on it, that it's going to. Now, as far as property tax or the property gain on the property, that's going to be another time. We'll talk about that stuff as well as corporations and selling stock and probably other things, dividends, stuff like that. So now, once we're at that point, what I want you to do is then write this down. Once you bid on the property, you go, you get the tax deed, file it. Then what you want to do is you want to go back out to the property, because if some reason something got removed during the day or the night that you happened to be there before, and you got to make sure everything's okay. Everything is still in shape, fine. You can move on to your next deal and move on from there by putting somebody maybe who wants to rent or whatever and do fix up for, let's say, the first 6 payments. You're going to write that off on your taxes as a loss because the fact you have to repair the property. So the people who choose to sign a lease option with you, please, whatever you do, do a lease option because it's just much easier. If you choose to sell that property later on, you can do a 2-year lease with option. And if they don't buy it in 2 years, you can always either flip it or continue to rent it out. You can actually even go as far as to put it on Section 8 and get a little bit more money maybe later. Now, when the people move in, the company that referred them to you, you want to make sure that your LLC is the management company for the property, and the home buyer's warranty is through the LLC. Okay. So everything comes to the LLC. The trust is there to hold the property and to keep people at bay as far as trying to attach and collect the property through a foreclosure or something else. Now, I want you to think about this, okay? And that is, once you do this, okay, you can do multiple things. You can let somebody live in the property as long as you have a lease with them and do a complete rental deduction, because they have to maintain and clean up and make sure the property doesn't look abandoned, because properties do tend to look abandoned. If somebody's there, we don't have to worry about vandalism. We don't have to worry about all kinds of stuff. But again, you can do the 6-month deal and then have them pay you a little bit of rent and deduct the difference, because you have to pay them, okay? And the agreement is, if they fix up the property, you want to have this in writing, they fix up the property in place of you, okay, noting down in the LLC's records that they paid you through the construction and cleanup of the property. Now let's go back to the other side. When you buy the tax deed and you buy the tax certificates, and then through the tax certificates after the 3 years in Arizona, for instance, you get the tax deed. Now, once you have that, what I want you to do is make sure you file those and you indicate your losses as to what you paid out for it. But that's something you'll work out with your tax accountant. Then, of course, the monies that you have to pay for the repairs and everything else, that too comes out your pocket or your LLC. So therefore, again, even though it becomes a big property gain, the more losses you have, the better off you are as to what you're actually going to pay for your capital gains. But that would be something you would talk to your tax accountant. Now, the stuff that I say, you can look up on Google, and you can look up tax certificates, how to bid on them. You're going to see some negative stuff about buying tax properties. Don't worry about it, because you're always going to have tax issues with some of these people. They're going to say, oh, well, I bought this property, but again, that's why you have, quote, error and omissions. If you always rely on your error and omissions, if something comes up, then as far as the property goes, you're not having to worry about, things that just pop up out of thin air and not knowing what to do. So do me a favor. Always remember you've got error and omissions before you buy any real property. Make sure you have the trust, the LLC, the limited liability company that you have. That's the trustee for your trust. Okay. There are things that protect you and every asset in the company. You look this stuff up online. What is the limited liability company good for? List it like this in Google. Okay. You can say land trust with LLC as trustee and how it works. And check it out. Now the other thing is, go to the Google and put in error and omissions and check and see how that does. Now, let's walk over a few things. So with tax certificates, okay, this is we're going to talk about separate from your LLC and the trust right now. You're going to do your due diligence by getting the list, first of all. Second of all, you're going to then know what you want to bid on because you've already looked at it. You wrote down your list and you chose what you wanted from that list. 3, I want you to think about this. When you bid either the 0 or 1% interest on your tax certificates so that the chances of you winning are going to be higher, okay? And no matter what, you will get it. Okay. 4, I want you to, if you're going to go to the auction to get the tax deed straight away, separate from the tax certificates, okay, you're then going to want to go put a deposit down, use the Visa, MasterCard, prepaid that I've told you about, and you're going to bid, but do not chase the bid. If somebody else bidding higher than you, forget the property, just write it off and go to the next one. Don't be surprised if all the bidders have already gone through their money, burned through their money, okay, and you're still standing there, and they've still got a lot of properties. If you don't get a property that day, don't worry about it, because there's plenty of properties, and you can also go to the tax office and check out the ones that did not sell at the auction, and you can go do your due diligence, come back and pay the taxes on that and ask for a trust deed on the property. They can tell you exactly how that works. Okay? Be aware. Every time they or anyone tells you that because you bought the tax deed, it doesn't wipe away everything. It does. You're in first position. If there's a mortgage on there, that's gone. Other thing. And that is when they say other liens, okay, if you did your due diligence, you're going to know if a franchise or other government lien is on the property when you pick up the property profile from your title company. Typically, the property profile companies will give it to you for free because as your title company, they're going to do all your paperwork for you. You say, here's my tax deed, I need it filed now. They file it. Next thing you know, they do everything else that needs to be done as far as filing your deeds in your county recorder or anywhere else. If papers need to be sent out to be signed, things that need to be notarized, They do all that for you. Why go out and spend thousands of dollars when you don't have to? Tax certificates are going to be your cheapest, and the purpose of buying tax certificates, even though you might have to wait 3 years to get your tax deed, you're going to be in a better position. That's what I enjoy, is tax deeds, because once I pay off the third year in Arizona as an example, and I ask for the tax deed, and I pay the additional, be it 1,000 or 500 or 5,000, whatever it is, and once I pay that, then I can turn around and know that not only do I got tax deductions, I've also been able to roll everything over into my trust, knowing the LLC is funded, knowing that there's liquidation, and knowing I got the error and omissions, and I'm good to go. Okay, so if you got any questions, give me thumbs up, thumbs down, give me a shout out as to comments, or even the subscribe button. If you want to hit that, subscribe, you'll get the next one. But we'll talk more about this later in another video. And I thank you for joining me. Like you guys, be safe, watch your back, and always remember, tax certificates and tax deeds are all the best when it comes to investing. Thank you, and you have a good day, and be safe.